The Silence of the Heart. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more romantic stories like this one. Noah sat in silence as the retreat center buzzed with the soft murmur of other guests around him. The air was crisp and fresh, but it felt like a heavy weight rested upon his chest. He had come here seeking peace, trying to escape the cacophony of his own mind, but so far, the silence was almost unbearable. It wasn't that he was shy, not really. Noah had always been the type of person to engage with people, to make connections, to enjoy the occasional banter. But after losing someone so dear to him, the silence had become a familiar friend. It was his way of coping by retreating into himself and closing off the world. That was until Emily appeared. She wasn't like the others. She didn't push him, didn't insist that he speak. Emily was patient, observant, and gave him space. Her gentle presence didn't feel like a challenge. Instead, it was an invitation to heal, even if he didn't know how to start. Over the next few days, Emily and Noah began to interact, though Noah didn't speak much. Emily would ask him questions, simple ones, and wait for his response. Sometimes he nodded, other times he just smiled faintly. It wasn't much, but it was progress. One evening, as they sat near a small fire pit on the retreat grounds, Emily said softly, "I know this silence feels like a shield to you, but sometimes it can also become a prison." Noah looked at her then, his gaze intense but filled with uncertainty. He wanted to respond, wanted to ask her how to break free, but the words wouldn't come. So, instead, he simply nodded. Emily smiled, her eyes full of understanding. "Take your time, Noah. You don't have to do anything before you're ready." The quiet conversation. The days continued to pass, and Noah felt himself slowly changing. Emily was always there, giving him the space he needed, but also gently nudging him to open up when he was ready. One morning, Noah woke up earlier than usual. He stepped outside and looked at the sky, a beautiful shade of lavender before the sun rose. He took a deep breath and felt the cool morning air fill his lungs. It was the first time in a long while that he had allowed himself to feel alive again, to appreciate the simple moments. As he wandered through the center's peaceful gardens, Noah spotted Emily sitting by a pond, a book in her lap. She looked up as he approached and smiled, her eyes warm with kindness. "Good morning, Noah," she greeted him. He hesitated for a moment, but finally managed to say something, his first full sentence in days. "It's beautiful here." Emily's smile widened. "It is, and so are you, Noah." The words struck him, leaving him speechless for a moment. He had always believed that silence was the safest way to hide from the world, but Emily's simple compliment made him realize how much he had missed genuine connection. As they sat together in silence, Noah found himself writing in his journal later that night. He wrote, "Sometimes the greatest silence speaks louder than any words." It was the first time in months that he had expressed his thoughts in writing, and it felt like a small victory. Beyond the silence. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more romantic stories like this one. The sun finally began to shine again over the retreat center. Winter had given way to spring, and the transformation could be seen not only in the flourishing nature but also in Noah. He had started returning to his old self, but with a newfound wisdom. Each day he spoke more, not only to Emily but to others as well. The first words he had uttered, words of gratitude, had turned into jokes. The cold days were replaced with warm moments, filled with laughter and deeper conversations. One afternoon, Emily accompanied him on a walk to a nearby cliff, one of her favorite places. The view was breathtaking, a vast valley covered with wildflowers and a river winding in the distance. "This is the place where I like to come and think," Emily said, looking out at the horizon. Noah looked at her, then at the landscape, and wrote, "This place is perfect." "It is, but not as much as you," she replied, smiling. He stared at her, as if looking for the right words, and finally, he found them. "I love you," Noah said clearly without hesitation. Emily couldn't help the smile that formed on her face. It didn't matter anymore whether the words came in a whisper or firmly. What mattered was that they finally came. The surprise she had felt at first gave way to a wave of happiness. It took her a moment to process it, but then she looked him in the eyes and said, "I love you too, and never doubt that." The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and gold. Emily and Noah stood there for a long while without needing to speak. Words were unnecessary now. All that they needed was in their shared presence, in the love that had helped heal them. A month later, Noah was no longer the man who had come to the center in silence. He was a new man, one who had learned that sometimes the greatest act of courage was to speak again, to reconnect. And all thanks to Emily, the therapist who unknowingly had changed his life. Before leaving the center, Emily gave him a gift, a blank notebook, so he could continue writing and drawing everything he felt. Noah looked at it, smiled, and with a tender gesture, wrote on one of the first pages, "Thank you for giving me back my voice. Now I know that love can heal any silence." In time, they both knew that the end was not a goodbye. It was the beginning of something much greater. Together, they had found a way to rebuild their broken hearts. And although words sometimes escape us, there will always be gestures, looks, and memories to keep writing our own love story. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed the story.